Hello, friends. How's it going? It's Friday, and today I actually don't have a lot of time. I got like an awards ceremony thing that I'm going to for my kid, but I did want to, try to get through this epic. We started this advanced React patterns thing this week, and I really wanted to try and wrap it up. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna try to get as far as I can on these lessons as I can in 50 minutes. So we got like a little bit of a time crunch. So I'm gonna dive right in today. And today we're going through the state reducer stuff, which I'm super excited about. I love these. And then maybe we'll get to the next one. We shall see what we shall see. So let's kind of tidy up our space here and jump right in. How's your week going? Is there anything that you're excited for this weekend? I'd love to know. Not sure what I did. Give me just a second. I apparently hid the comments. So okay, cool. So let's dive into this. State reducers, background, one liner. The state reducer pattern inverts control over the state management of your hook and or component to the developer using it so they can control the state changes that happen when dispatching events. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So we see a like too many clicks, too many cooks. Um, Okay, so during the life of a reusable component, which is used many different contexts, feature requests are made over and over again to handle different cases and cater to different scenarios. We can definitely add props to our components and add logic to our reducer for how to handle these different cases, but there's never ending list of logical customizations that people could want out of their custom hooks, and we don't want to have to code for every one of those cases. Yes, amen. State reducer pattern. Okay, so the exercise here, um, I don't know what I did with comments. Ecamm is not my friend right now. Okay, anyway. Okay, so the exercise. In this exercise, we want to prevent the toggle from updating the toggle state after it's been clicked 4 times in a row before resetting. We could easily add that logic to our reducer, but instead we're going to apply a computer science pattern called inversion of control, where we effectively say, here you go. You have complete control over this, how this thing works. It's now your responsibility. As an aside, before React hooks were a thing, this was pretty tricky to implement and resulted in pretty weird code. But the use reducer this is way better. I love hooks. That's interesting. I'm trying to think about why that would be weird. I guess because you would have to do certain life cycles. Yeah, and there wasn't a like use reducer type of hook. That's what a lot of people were using Redux for. That's interesting. Cool, cool, cool. So your job is to enable people to provide a custom reducer so that you can complete so they have complete control over how state updates happen. Okay, cool. Alrighty, let's do this. Okay, so okay, so we're on 5, but it looks like this is the final. So we're gonna open up 5 exercise and see what we have. Okay. Add a new option called reducer that defaults to toggle reducer. Okay, so I guess we can just add this here. Since this is a hook, we fully control the API of this thing. So we'll call this reducer, and this is equal to toggle reducer. Okay. Great. So instead of passing toggle reducer here, pass the reducer that's provided, pass the reducer that's provided as an option, and that's it. Don't forget to check the extra credit. Okay, so here, use toggle. Okay, so then we're just changing this to reducer. So it's still toggle reducer because we're setting that if it's not provided, but it is now optional. So where are we calling this? Okay, so use toggle. Okay, so we need to see where this is getting used. So F12, use toggle. Okay, and then yes. Okay, so Kent's already done this. So toggle state reducer. So we have toggle reducer, and then which one's where's toggle state reducer? Okay, so it's just defined in the application. Toggle reset. Okay, so we reset this. Okay, well, you click too much. Okay, was it not already doing that? Okay, click too much 4 times. Okay, oh, was this a different number of times? No. Huh. Let me see how the final is different. 1, 2, 3, 4, reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, reset. Okay, so maybe it's the same toggle state reducer. Okay, let's change this. Or actually, let's just remove this since we're providing it. So we will. Oh, that's why. Okay, so I put this as an argument, but it needs to be inside of the object. There we go. Okay, now let's try this. Super confused. Okay, so now if I take this out, refresh this page just to be sure. So if I take that out, I swear, am I in the wrong file again? Exercise 5. Exercise 5. Okay, toggle state reducer. We're not passing that in. Let's log out the reducers, see what we get. Okay, so that's clearly running. And which one are we getting? We're getting this one with just the state and the reset. Okay, so if we're, this is so funny. So we're logging this. Okay, let's check out when we actually see. Oh, okay, maybe this is it. Clicked too much. Okay, so maybe I'm looking for the wrong thing. Click too much times greater than 4. Okay, so that's actually defined in the application, not in the reducer. And so how do these differ? They don't. They're the same. Okay, gotcha. I guess I can keep clicking this one. Is that the difference? I'd love to see. I mean, I guess. Okay, yeah, that's the difference. I can't keep clicking this at this point, but this one, yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what we were supposed to be seeing. Okay, cool. All right, we did it. I was just confused as to what I was supposed to be seeing. Okay, no problems there. Let's check out the extra credit. Default state reducer. Our toggle reducer is pretty simple. So it's not a huge pain for people to implement their own. However, in a more realistic scenario, people may struggle with having to basically re-implement our entire reducer, which could be pretty complex. So if you can provide a nice way for people to be able to use the toggle reducer themselves, if they choose, feel free to test that out by changing the toggle reducer function inside of app. Example, to use the default reducer instead of having to re-implement what to do when the action type is reset. Okay, so we have function toggle reducer. Okay, so this is standing on its own. And we're looking at toggle state reducer. So this is toggle state reducer. And the question is, why re-implement reset, right? We already have that implemented. We shouldn't have to do that. So toggle state reducer. And so then this is going to okay, got it. So we're going to take this out and call return toggle reducer of state action. Except, sorry, we still, no, okay. Feel free to test this out by changing toggle state reducer function inside of app example to use the default reducer instead of re-implementing what to do when the action type is reset. So function toggle state reducer, that's what we have right here. If action type equals toggle and times clicked is greater than 4, return state on. Okay, so we're going to do this. Grab this. We're going to keep this around. Okay. Okay, toggle reducer. So this should now hit the reset on this toggle reducer. Yes. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Okay, and then let's see what we get. So reset, too much, reset. Okay. That's what it's supposed to do, right? Yeah. Okay. I guess we just do what it said to do. Choose the default reducer instead of having to re-implement. Type is reset. Okay. I kind of feel like we missed something, but let me check. Okay, so that's that. And we have... Yeah, that's it. So the code is already kind of... Yeah, so I guess this is the answer? Seems kind of odd given the previous exercises that would be the answer. That they would just give you the answer. But I can't see anything different, so... It is interesting. So yeah, so it's catching. So it basically is just overwriting this particular case, which is kind of nice. Yeah, just the toggle case, which is cool. I like that. It's a cool pattern. Okay, state reducer action types. So requiring people to know what action types are available and code them is just asking for annoying typos, unless you're using TypeScript or Flow, which we could probably remove, or Flow. TypeScript 1. Which you really should consider. See if you can figure out a good way to follow people, to help people avoid typos in these strings by perhaps putting all possible action types on an object somewhere and referencing them instead of hard coding them. Okay. So I'm kind of curious, like what type would be best for this in TypeScript? Like, is this a good case for like an enum? I know that people hate enums. Yeah, I don't know. Curious. Okay, let's see. So we have, let's use const since this will be like exported as like a module type thing. Action types, I guess. And we'll have toggle, which will be toggle, and reset, which is reset. Now the thing is that like we have to check this. Oh, right. We would just do this at the call site. Those could still remain the same if we wanted them to. But where we do our reducer, this would be action types dot toggle, and then reset. Actually, let's just look for the string reset. Okay, those ones are correct, but then this one would change to action types dot reset. Okay, still works. So let's see what the kind of solution was for that. Okay, so, oh, funny. It's like exactly the same on this part of it, at least. Okay, but they do actually use them here, so that's good to know. And then I thought I was going to have to check like action types.toggle equals this, but the case I learned right now with this case, it's actually going to compare it to the underlying value. So, okay, good to know. And then these should be right. Yes, action types.toggle. So cool. Done. Okay, that was fast. We did it. Just like 15 minutes. We got through number 5. Love it. Love it. Okay, good. Congratulations to us. And then let's see if we can get through this next one. This next one's kind of beastly. There's a ton of extra credit, so we'll see how we do. Okay, cool. So control props, a lot of stuff in here, so we'll see how this goes. Control props, background one-liner. The control props pattern allows users to completely control state values within your component. This differs from the state reducer pattern in the fact that you can not only change the state changes, you can not only change the state changes based on actions. Let's for some different verbiage here. There's a lot of negation and word duplication. Action dispatches dispatched, but you also can trigger state changes from outside the component or hook as well. This sentence is a mouthful. We're going to clarify that one liner a little bit because it's a little bit thick. Sometimes people want to be able to manage the internal state of our component from the outside. The state reducer allows them to manage what state changes are made when a state change happens, but sometimes people may want to make state changes themselves. We can allow them to do this with a feature called control props. Okay. This concept is basically the same as controlled form elements in React, which you've probably used many times. So basically, you just have you get the value in the updater and then you hard set the value in the updater. So this can never be out of sync. It doesn't trust the DOM at all. It's always going to render and set that value. In this case, the component that's implemented the control props pattern is an input. Normally, it controls state itself, like if you render input by itself with no value prop. But once you add the value prop, suddenly the input takes the back seat and instead this is literally what I just said. It's funny. And instead makes suggestions to UV on change prop and the state updates that will normally make itself. This flexibility allows us to change how the state is managed by capitalizing the value, and it also allows us to programmatically change the state whenever we want to, which enables this kind of synchronized input situation. Okay, so yeah, this is actually a really good example, this synchronized input. So we have capitalized value, lowercase value, and updaters for both of those. We have this handle function and okay, so that's not what we're looking at here. Okay. But then these inputs are both going to call the same function. They're going to update, but their values are controlled so you can't put a lowercase first in the uppercase one and an uppercase first in the lowercase one. Okay, in this exercise, we've created toggle component, which can accept a prop called on and another called on change. These work similar to the value and on change props from an input. Your job is to make those props actually control the state of on and call the on change with the suggested changes. Okay, cool. I like it. So let's see what we have here. So use toggle, initial on false, reducer, toggle reducer, which is defined here, which has an action. We've already seen this. So toggle and reset. Okay, add an on. So this is use toggle. Okay, so use an on, add an on change prop. Okay, and I assume this is going to be some kind of function. Add an on option. Let's call it true. You can alias it to, oh, sorry, use the wrong syntax here. Okay, so we're defining this hook. We're going to take on change and on true. Okay, no, this is like bad. I wouldn't actually do this, but this is just for, the demonstration purposes right now. So, actually we don't want this to have a default value, I don't think. Add an on option here. Okay, I'm not quite sure where we're going with this, but I'm adding that. What did I do here? Why is it unhappy with me? Parsing error identified on has already been declared. Okay, where? is on... Don't know why it's saying that. Okay. You can alias it to controlled on to avoid variable shadowing. I don't know what variable shadowing is, but let's on. Did it warn us about that when we hovered this? Declared. Okay. Whoops. Oh my gosh. Your problem. I can't click that button. Why can I not click that button? Oh my gosh. Okay. Screw it. Okay. We're just going to call this controlled on and move on with our lives. Okay, so we're taking all these additional props that we're not using yet. Okay, so determine whether on is controlled and assigned to that, and assign that to on is controlled. Okay, so let on is controlled equal controlled on true and otherwise false. What is controlled on not equals null? Huh, okay. I'm interested to see what that does. We can try that later. Place the next line with the const on equals whatever, which should be controlled on if on is controlled. Otherwise, it should be the state on. So place the next line with const on. Should be controlled on if on is controlled. Otherwise, it should be state on. On is controlled. Controlled on. Thanks for the like. Appreciate you. Did I do this? Oh, controlled. Okay. Okay. So when we take on change, anytime we need to make a state change, we want to take on change anytime we want to make a state change, but we only want to call dispatch if not is controlled. Otherwise, we could get unnecessary renders. To simplify things a bit, let's make a dispatch on change function right here that will do what? So dispatch with on change function. We don't know anything about it yet. So it's going to accept an action. Okay. Which I assume is going to be some kind of function. If on is controlled. Okay, so if not on is controlled, call dispatch with that action. Oh, sorry, it's not a function, it's an action. And then call on change with the suggested changes and the action. So if on is controlled as false, call dispatch with that action, then call On change with our suggested changes and the action. So it says then, but do they mean else? Oh, gotcha. We're just going to call the okay, gotcha. Okay, but we always want to call on change, right? I think that's what we're suggested changes. Okay, so what are the suggested changes? The suggested toggle reducer. Reducer, and then call with the expected changes. So I guess with an, okay, where else are we talking about suggested changes? So it says and the action. So I guess we'll pass the action along as well. So on, the suggested change is going to be on, I guess. I think. Maybe. I'm going to have to play with this a couple times to kind of see what the desired outcome is. Okay, suggested changes. Refers to the change we would make if we were managing the state ourselves. This is similar to how controlled components input on change callbacks work. When your handler is called, you get an event, which, oh, good gracious, which has information about the value and that would be set to that state where that state were managed, if that state were managed internally. I'd love to see some more commas, I think. So how do you determine, or shorter sentences? So how do you determine our suggested changes? What code do you have to calculate the changes? What code do you have? What code do you own? Have access to calculate the changes based on the action. Extraneous. That's right, the reducer. So if we pass it the current state and the action, then it should return the suggested changes. Okay, so we have a reducer. I do like pushing into kind of using these reducers as like calling these reducers manually instead of just passing them along to use reducer. It's interesting. So we have the reducer. And we call the reducer with, what was it, the state and our action. Okay. Sorry for Olivia, the owl is cryptic. Here's what you need to do for that on change call. On change, reducer. State on. Oh, okay. So this other part was still action. So we're still passing the action along in addition to the state. Also note that users don't have to pass an on change prop. It's not required, so keep that in mind when you call it. How could you avoid calling it if it's not passed? Also note that users don't have to pass an on change prop. It's not required, so keep that in mind when you call it. I guess we could just do like, just put a check in front of it. Make these call dispatch with on change. Okay. This final exercise. Okay, so these are supposed to be controlled together. And then this one's supposed to keep going. Okay, so that's not what we're seeing right now. Okay, so let's look at the app. So we have both on change, handle toggle change. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so so we're holding on to this. We're holding this state for set both on times clicked, set times clicked. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so function handle toggle. So state and action. If action type equals action types dot toggle. Okay, handle toggle change. Okay, so set times click, so it's incrementing the click counter. Set both on, state of on. Action dot type. Oh, gotcha. Because the toggle is, yes, providing an action. Gotcha. So let's log these state and action. Okay. So it looks like that data is getting back up to us. So the question is, why are these not updating together? Okay, let's make sure that at this point in the application, oh, gotcha. Okay, so I am sending back the whole object, which is not ideal. We want to, where you at? Where you at? We don't want to call it with the whole reducer, I don't think. Unless we plan on changing the signature. Okay, I'm going to peek final 6. Just the application part to see if they changes the signature. Okay, state on. Okay, so oh no, it's all right because we are calling it with state dot on in the update function. Okay, state dot on is changing, so it should then in turn false. Okay, so it must be getting caught in this. So if action types dot toggle, and the number of times clicked is greater than 4. Okay, so it stops sending them at that point. But we're calling set both on. With those values. We're using both on. Oh shoot, I'm logging more things. Okay. Let's reset this. True, false, true, false. No, true, false, true. Okay, so reset. True, false, true, false. True. Okay, this is my only... Yeah, that's my only log at the moment. So we're getting that value. We're calling set both on. And the number of times is incrementing. So it has to be in the way that our component is controlled. So, okay, so now that we have all that, let's see how this goes. Okay, so we have, oh, because we're calling it with on, and this is controlled on. Okay. Getting closer though. Okay, toggle on or controlled on, both on. Let's see which props we get at our component level. So console.log, initial on, reducer, on change, controlled on. Okay, so initial reducer's false, which it should be. We have state reducer, which we expect. We're also see on change. Oh yeah, we have that. We're getting that function in because we are getting an on change. Okay, cool. So then, and then we have false, false, false. Does this change? Okay, so that's weird. We're still getting... Controlled on should be true. God dang it. I'm running out of time. Okay. Blub, 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 blub. Controlled on. Both on. Console.log. Controlled on. Reset this. Undefined, undefined, undefined. Okay, where is this toggle? Oh, never mind. Shoot. I was confusing the hook with the component, wasn't I? Okay, so yes. Okay. All right, I got like 10 minutes to figure this out. Okay, so what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? On. Okay, so let's get to the toggle. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So log toggle on. So this should definitely be switching. So we have toggle true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false. Okay, cool. Now, here now we're using get toggle props. Or sorry, use get toggle props, and we're passing in on. Okay, gotcha. This has to be on. This is an area where I think having all of this stuff in a single module can be a little bit confusing. But it is what it is. Okay, so I've now renamed that to controlled on in my app. Okay. Okay, so we're now seeing double okay. Okay, so false, false, undefined. Okay, let's read through this. So const current initial state for use ref. On is initial on. Okay, state, dispatch, use reducer. We're passing the reducer in with the initial state. Where is the initial state? Okay, it's coming from the ref. Determine whether on is controlled and assign that to on is controlled. Okay, let's just interesting. That just like totally blew it up. On is controlled. Let on is controlled. Replace the next line with const on Maybe this is an area in which that was my problem. Okay, now uncontrolled isn't working. And I think it should. Okay, so we're still bound up here. So let's see. This one, uncontrolled, on change. Is it still logging what it's supposed to be logging? Okay, so that part of it's good. Just keeps going on though. So let's see what else we could have gotten wrong. Okay, so we want to call on change anytime we need to make a state change, but we only want to call dispatch if not on is controlled. I'm going to call dispatch with the action. To simplify things a bit, let's make dispatch with change function right here. So we'll accept an action. If on is controlled as false, that's what we're checking for. Call dispatch with that action. Then call on change with our suggested, okay. Interesting. So if I, okay, so there's a render where it's getting two trues and then undefined. So if not controlled on, actually want to log out all the other props to, or I just want to see, I guess, some of the other props. So if action type, okay, so we're getting that. So it is one of those that's calling it with undefined. Okay, what happens if I take both of these out? Theoretically. Okay, now what if I just take one of them out? Okay, let me take the other one out. Okay, I'm gonna peek because I'm running out of time, to be honest. Okay, so we got to get up here. Oh yeah, that would be a better way to do that. The, what do they call it? The Elvis operator. Okay, so this looks right. So then if on change, reducer of state, on action, and then action. Okay, all that looks right. Toggle. Action toggle. Didn't leave myself much room here. These all look the same. This all, as far as I can tell, looks the same. There's something very subtle that I'm missing. And I'm admittedly unsure what it is. Okay, let's go back into the... Let's go to the top. We have call all, which we don't need. This is same. Use toggle hook. Toggle reducer on change. Controlled on. Okay, const. Oh, what am I doing here? I'm doing this twice. No, I'm not. Let on is controlled equals, okay, yes, we're doing that. Const on is controlled on, oh, state dot on, mother lover. Okay, this one still doesn't work. So, okay, continue. Action not is controlled, dispatch. Okay, cool. So I don't know, whatever. We'll just change the syntax, but I don't, that shouldn't make a difference. As much as I love the syntax is cool. Reducer, spread all the state, on, action. And then that's it. Wish I had a way to lock these. Stay on. This is the same. All the same. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, we're going to look at this one more time, because clearly there has to be something wrong. But then actually I have to go in 5 minutes. Oh, nope, I have to go now. Okay, cool. It has been fun, but I have to leave. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry, I'm sorry that I have to go, but it is now time for me to do so. So, didn't quite nail it. I'm not quite sure why this is being the way it is, but it is. So anyway, I'll see you in the next one. See you next week, probably. Okay, cool. See you. Bye.